Hey, everybody.
Hello, hello.
Happy Thursday. Hope y'all are doing well.
Oh, by the way, can you
Yeah.
see my full name or just my short name? I have an error, even though I
Uh,
changed it. It's
Min?
yeah. Can you see just Min or just full three names?
I see your three names there. So,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Thank you.
cool. All set. How's everyone doing today? Cool. Hope
Okay.
y'all are ready to learn some Git. Oh, wait, someone say something. I didn't hear y'all there.
Uh,
Okay. All right. I'm gonna give us like 2 more minutes. We'll get like maybe a couple more people to trickle in, and then we'll start. Think my camera's a little better now. It was like all blurry a little bit ago. It's like put Vaseline on my camera or something. Like, what the heck is going on there? Yeah. This is Apple trying to get me to get a new computer, probably. They're like, "Ugh, just buy the Mac Neo." Oh, I actually made it worse. That's terrible. Like, all right. Maybe it's just Zoom software. All right. Anyway. So, um, So today we're gonna go over Git. We're gonna, if we have time, we'll do a quick exercise. So what I want us to do today is we'll go over a lecture. We're gonna break off into groups doing a small exercise. The exercise is really just installing Git, making sure the peeps that did not have their Git set before, like set it up, GitHub, I mean. So you'll be setting up Git and GitHub, and then we'll go over some stuff like branching, commits, all of the cool stuff there. Shout out to Kazi over there for making a really cool walkthrough. So I'll share that with you guys in a little bit. So thanks, Ming. Um, Before I forget, while we're waiting, I am going to give my TAs host access because when we break off in the groups, I want to make sure that y'all can actually work around with the breakout groups as well. Give me 1 second. So first things first, I will allow y'all, um, anyone who wants to share can share settings, share, sharing, we can share all participants. Okay, great. And oh yeah, I can actually do it here, you guys. So make you a co-host. Make you a co-host. You a co-host. All right, got you on the co-host as well. Everyone gets a co-host. All right. I swear I'm not an AI agent out here. That's why the camera's blurry. Ask me a question and I'll just be like, sure. Da 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 da. But anyway, let's get started. Okay. All right, great. I see that y'all can see my screen out here. Cool. Git distributed um the distributed version control system, Git. So I would like to kind of think well actually I want to share some examples real quickly. So let me grab those. Don't mind that. Um and don't mind those. Those are actually other project stuff. So 1 second. You'll get 1 more minute of chill, so I can get some examples set up for you guys. There it goes. Beautiful. And let's go live with this real quick. Mind that. That'll be for later. All right, so something interesting about Git. It is a very it's complex, but also just once you get it, like like don't be intimidated by it. I'm gonna go over like a little bit of the history, a little bit of why it's so important, and but real talk, like 80% of what you're really going to be using are about 3 to 4 commands. Um, you need to understand the full thing because that 20% when you actually have to like do some interesting stuff in Git, you want to be kind of ready for that. But Where like rest assured you'll get the basically the bearings of it now. Let's see. There we go. Turn off reactions real quick. That'll be our little example. Okay, great. So, um, yeah, so Git. Um, I'd like to kind of paint a little example of like a little thought experiment. Let's say I'm an artist and I'm painting, I'm drawing. I don't really paint. I'm drawing this really cool picture. It's a beautiful shot of the Bronx. Basically I'm painting Fordham Road, and I am like I went over it with a pencil, just kind of like making it look decent. And I'm like, wow, on Thursday I did that. It looks really cool. I'm like, tomorrow I'm gonna go back to actually um like put the colors in with color pencils. And I completely hate how the colors turned out. Normally what would happen is like, yeah, it's like, well, make a new picture or like figure out a way to scrape off those colors with your color pencils. But wouldn't it be really cool if there was a way for me to kind of just be like, hey, like let me go back to um where I like the picture and then kind of start from there. Like I want to go back to when I drew it out with pencils and basically try again with like playing around with different colors on the paint on the picture. Basically, that is in the realm of software. That's kind of what we figured out what to do with using this distributed version control system called Git. So let's get into it. So a little bit of prefix, like again, like this is the deeper stuff. Like you'll kind of like get a little bit more understanding of this when you get further into development. Hold on, wait 1 second. Let me just make sure everybody is in here. It's like we have, yeah, 2 people that are all right, perfect. All right, so actually, any of the TAs, if like because y'all are co-hosts, if you can let people in while I'm teaching, that would be helpful so I can focus on the lesson and stuff like that. Just let me know if y'all are having trouble with that. Okay. Okay, so um the internals of Git. It's really just centered around the graph theory and basically taking snapshots via like SHA-1 hashing to actually like create a system that actually you can where you can actually have a active record of like your code base, like from what happened on Thursday all the way to what happened, like on Wednesday when you broke the app or something like that. Um, so we'll go back to like kind of what this means because like what is graph theory, what is a tree, all of that jazz. Like don't worry, we'll get into those pieces there. So what we're gonna kind of going to go around in this lesson is we're going to talk about, the overview, setup, like Git as a big picture. What are some of the things we can do, like stash your workplace, kind of like your local repository compared to the upstream repository, and just kind of all of that in big pictures, your core commands, and just really a summary of all of that jazz. So, an overview. Let's do a bird's eye view of what version control system and Git is. So, a version control system is a category of software tools that helps teams manage their source code over time. So, a lot of times when you see um, programming or hackers in movies, it's usually basically like this lone wolf in a very dimly lit room hammering away at code, and it's all that person. There's usually Mountain Dew in the background, and that person is the one making all of the software, and or hacking the system, or something along the lines of that. In the real world, that's not the case. There are applications, the things that we use every day are built by multiple teams of people, and they are usually all around the world in different time zones, different areas, and also in different skill sets as well. So, how the heck does all of that work together? We use something like a version control system that like Git. So version control system keeps track of every modification to your code in a special kind of database. So what's really cool about this is Git is super lightweight. When you think about like your project kind of like being on your computer and then using Git to kind of move through it, I always kind of thought about it as like, oh, wait, so like am I having like multiple copies of my project just like chilling on my computer, and that's how I'm able to like roll back or have different branches and stuff like that? Um, that's not the case. Like Git actually handles this really well with like the idea of like pointers and stuff like that. We'll go into what the heck that means in a little bit. But let's say hypothetically if I made a mistake, like for example at work today, I'm blaming my boss for this. This dude broke the email system, and I had to like stay here a little later, stay at work a little later to actually like help fix it. And it would have been, like it would be nice to be like, hey, like let's just like go to a working rendition when it was working, which basically is what I did. And I was like, all right, we'll fix it. We'll fix what we really wanted to do on tomorrow. But the idea is like you can compare earlier versions of your code to help fix mistakes while minimizing like disruptions to your all your team members, because your software is going to be multiple people working on it. Netflix is not built by one person, it's built by multiple teams, thousands of developers all around the world working together. um, what I'd like to think of this as is a lot of people would be like, wait, isn't that just like Google Docs or something like that? With something, what's really cool about Git is there's this idea of like, let's say if we are all working together on like a Excel sheet or something like that. If someone goes in and breaks a particular formula, maybe the totals for like everybody would be broken for a little bit until that's fixed. In software, someone does that, and we were dealing with software in this kind of collaborative Google Docs kind of situation. um like the whole app would break for everybody until that thing is working properly. That is not an optimal way to create software. It's not an optimal way to work with teams in software, and we this is the reason why this this version control system like was created. So um what's really cool about version control is like it solves these kinds of problems, like a complete history of every file, which enables you to move back to previous versions, analyze source code for bugs, fix problems in older versions. The ability to also like work on an independent stream of change, which allows you to kind of like work in parallel to other people doing other things. So they're not kind of uh, like I said, like it's not like the Google Doc where basically you are working on something and then break everything while like, everybody's just kind of like waiting for you to fix it. Um, and also you can kind of like work on that in parallel, and then when you're ready to kind of like say, hey, this is ready for prime time, bring it into your core code base to act and verify changes and make sure there's like no conflicts, so your the application doesn't break. You also have the ability to kind of trace each change with a message. So the idea is like, um, there's this really funny GIF. I'll try to find it during our exercise where basically there's a guy looking at his code, kind of like how I am right now, just like this, and the lines were like, there were two people that kind of knew what happened on line 47 of my code base. It was me and God, and now only God knows. Like this idea of like actually being able to write commit messages that are accurate and actually clear helps you understand what are the things you've done to actually understand where maybe you have it gives you a little bit of a hint to like where things are, where things could possibly have broken, or where things where you should basically be working on for a new feature or something like that. um, I work on a video game called Museum Multiverse, and I swear to you, like, I am the lead developer. There's maybe like one other developer on it, like a couple years back. And if it wasn't for these Git commit messages, which, I was a worse Git commit messenger in my youth, like when I first started the project. If I didn't commit these messages properly, I would have never known what the heck was happening, like on my project. I'd have been like, all right, I have no idea. I stepped away from the project for a month. I have no idea what I'm doing. I guess the game is canceled. So these are the kind of things that like version control kind of saves us on. So, you're not, we don't have grades here. You're not going to be quizzed on it, but basically, who is the originator of like this whole idea of a distributed version control system? It was Linus Torvalds. Like I always get his name wrong, but basically the principal developer of Linux, that is the computer operating system that low key everybody should be using if they don't want to be tracked by like the overlords out here. But yeah, he kind of created this system known as Git in 2005. And Git, created by this guy, one thing I need you to kind of understand is this is not GitHub. GitHub was actually created in 2008 by Chris, Tom, and PJ. Basically, they're two different systems. Like what I'd like to kind of think about it as is Git is like your little time machine to help you understand um, like what you've done, where you are in your software, and how to kind of like work together as a team, while GitHub is kind of like this system in the cloud to kind of help you work with multiple people around the world, and kind of like commit your code up so everyone can kind of use it and utilize it and basically like make a successful app. So Git was initially designed with some of these things in mind: speed, simple design, strong support for non-linear development. There's thousands of parallel branches. The idea is like someone can be working on, let's say if this is Netflix, someone can be working on the choose your own adventure feature that used to be the case with Netflix when you were, I don't know if anyone's seen the TV show. Well, it's the TV show Black Mirror. It had an episode called Bandersnatch. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. You actually choose your own adventure in the story, and it kind of gave you different endings, all with your remote on Netflix. Like that was probably a different branch that was called crazy epic storyline feature while everyone else was just like, yo, let's like make sure the the TV shows are optimized and stuff like that on other parts of Netflix. So, you know, someone can kind of work on that parallel universe where you're kind of like working on that piece there, and then when you're ready, merge it into the main code base there. So, and it's fully distributed, and you're able to handle large projects efficiently with speed and data. So, yeah, like if you like, you will all be working on uh, these bigger kind of tech stacks in the future. And you're gonna see like some of these repos are gonna be like over 5,000, 10,000 files, and you're able to kind of just work on this with with speed and efficiency. So yeah. Before we kind of go any further, there are two different types of version control systems that exist. One is centralized. That is kind of like the SVN, kind of like it's one kind of central person kind of controlling it on one server. The other is distributed, where it's decentralized, not like crypto. Well, kind of like crypto. Well, like the idea is like basically it's many people kind of have it, and like you can all kind of work on it in parallel. And then when you have on GitHub is kind of like your little main repo in the sky where you can kind of like push your changes up, pull it down, so on and so forth. I'll get into a small example of that, and the benefits of why a distributed version control system is way better. So centralized version control system, this is basically like it's a version per force. These are kind of like these older versions of kind of like keeping track of your project. Basically, unlike like your distributed systems like Git, you typically only have a partial copy of the project locally in a centralized system, and you pull and update specific files as you need them, but you don't have the complete like local copy of the entire project. While Git, you rely on a central server to store all of that. That's kind of like your GitHub type stuff. And then you clone that repository locally on your computer, giving you the complete history and the complete project on your computer at once. Uh, while the central repository is not like required, services like GitHub kind of like provide you with that, again, like that centralized location, so everyone can work on the project and push it up in one central area. So example of why you'd probably want a distributed version control system compared to like the centralized version control system is, I don't know if well, you've all probably seen the movie Toy Story, correct? All right, so the sequel to it, Toy Story 2, someone really fudged up like a particular thing in the movie and accidentally deleted the whole film. So like there was this, if you read the book, I think it's like Imagination Inc. or something like that. But basically it was a story of Pixar and kind of like all of their movies up to a certain point. But one of the craziest stories is like how Toy Story 2 almost like didn't even happen because basically someone broke something, and like everybody at the company could like were just like could not do anything. They just saw like the movie slowly get deleted without being able to like do anything, basically um an error happened in their proprietary software, destroyed the whole project, and basically they were just like, well, what do we do? We're screwed. um Luckily, there was a worker that was on paternity leave, and she actually had a backup copy of the movie because she was working remote, like taking care of her kid. And thankfully they were able to kind of take her computer, bring it like the Ark of the Covenant to the Pixar office, and basically they only lost like a couple days of work. and we all got to enjoy Toy Story 2 without them getting without basically them getting fired or anything like that, or like the whole company going under. Actually, it's like it wasn't even about getting fired. Like if like picture if you lose like half of the repo to GitHub, and I mean, sorry, not GitHub, like Netflix or something like that, and you're just like, well, we don't have it anywhere else. I guess there is no there like the app is broken for 6 months until we like scramble and fix it again. Basically two things there. There is the first thing is this is why remote work is also awesome. Like they're like if it wasn't for that, like like the company would have went under. But two, basically this is the reason why you would want something like a distributed version control system where everyone has a copy of it. Someone completely broke something on their computer, it's isolated there and not kind of like going to trickle down to everyone else like within a within without even committing anything, without even like adding anything to your like editing the repo there. So yeah, and I love it. Thanks for sharing the article there. Uh yeah, so if y'all want to like learn a little bit more about that, yeah, crazy. But yeah, uh let's go into where Git is being used. Git and here and the reason why I'm over here teaching y'all Git over like the JavaScripts and stuff like that right now, because real talk, like as I said, the movies and stuff like that show that like, oh, there's a lot of lone wolf hackers and they're like the ones building out the softwares and stuff like that. Most companies, it like when you get into the field, you will be using Git. You'll more than likely be using GitHub, Bitbucket, or some kind of or GitLab, I believe, some kind of alternative to that system where you can kind of push pull up to a remote repository. And all of the companies that a lot of y'all kind of like said were your dream companies use this. It's important and like it's an industry standard. So, Git is used in over 5,000 companies such as Netflix, Shopify, Lyft. Yeah, that's how old this slide is. Facebook, y'all remember that? Apple, Amazon, Atlassian, Microsoft, and so forth. Yeah. So, long story short, Git is popular. It helps streamline the nonlinear concurrent development for projects, patches, features, versions on cross-functional teams. So, we're gonna do a little bit of an exercise for a setup. Not right now. I'm gonna go over a bit more slides, but then we're actually gonna break up in the groups and we're actually gonna like do the whole download Git, make sure you have it working on your machine. Make sure if you haven't done your GitHub stuff yet, set up your GitHub, do it there. Oh yeah, Louis, you have a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, mate, like there's two different processes for when people use a PC and Mac, so remember to
Yes.
use whichever one you do.
Exactly. Great point, Lewis. So yeah, the instructions will kind of like show like, when you like go to the Git like website, they'll give you the instructions for each. Um, for the people that have Windows, I'm so sorry, but for the people that have Mac, it's a whole lot easier, but it will still work for both. We'll go into the whole setup later. But let's go into like the what is this whole thing I'm talking to y'all about? Let's kind of see Git through a visual representation to kind of understand what this crazy blurry robot person is talking about over here. So let's say we are working on a project here. I'm actually gonna see if I can kind of go work along with y'all on this. So let's actually make a new tab here. I am gonna get the heck out of here. I know like you're seeing lines of matrix right now, but can everyone see like this terminal window I have right now? Can y'all like read the text and stuff like that easily?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So let me actually create a new directory. So I'm gonna do this really quickly. I'll tell you what I'm doing. Like the stuff that like you don't really need to learn for Git right now, but I'm gonna talk through the commands pretty like yeah, I'll slow down for the actual commands and stuff like that that we want to learn. So let's say we are making a website. I'm going to make a directory for Mac on your terminals, make dir. And one thing I do want to demystify here, like I know, like like this is the first class. You're like, yo, why are you bringing up this crazy matrix terminal? I thought you meant, I thought you said like, the developers aren't like hacking in their rooms out here in the in a quiet dim room. Uh, like I would like to say like as a software engineer, you're gonna have to get used to this terminal. There are graphical user interface versions of Git, but I want to teach y'all this first, and then y'all can kind of use the GitHub desktops and all that jazz. Basically, also, what I want to point out is like a lot of times, like what you're seeing here is just um a lower level version of like what you're seeing on your computer. So for example, what the heck this is right now, I'm actually going to clear this so we don't have to see any of that. What we're seeing right now is if I run the command open dot, it is literally just the folder of wait, there it is. So it's literally just this folder here. I don't want to close that because that's important. But wait, hold on. I should have opened up a different folder. I have like a million tabs up. That's my life. All right. I'm basically in this folder called TTP. As you can see, that is the folder like name here. So if I run something like pyd print working directory, it's actually going to show me, hey, where the heck are you? I'm in users, Hesvasio dev TTP. Kazi.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Hess, we can't see your screen. Maybe it's just me.
Oh, wait, so you can't see the terminal at all? Or
I personally can. I don't know about the rest.
I can.
I
Yeah,
can
I can
see
see
I
it.
can, I
it.
can see the screen.
I could see it.
Okay,
Oh.
never mind. It's just me then. I'm sorry.
okay, wait, so Kazi, maybe just leave the call and then come back in and maybe you'll be able to see it properly. I'll just make you a host again, okay? Okay, so what I'm gonna do really quickly is, as I mentioned, I want to make a directory so I can show y'all what the heck we're talking about in this little visual map here. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna run this command called make dir, make directory. I'm going to call it Thursday, Thursday. No, I'm kidding. It's not. Gotcha. Okay, you're in here now. Kazi, can you see the screen now?
Yeah, I can. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. It'd be like that. Someone on Zoom didn't commit their code today. Broke everything. So I'm gonna make this folder called Thursday class. Let's actually be smart and actually name it a little easier there. So 4-23. Yeah, 23. Happy belated Earth Day, everybody. All right, so now I just created a directory, and if we take a look here, if we list everything that's in that folder, and remember, this is literally just the folder of what y'all saw like a couple seconds ago. bam, it's just this folder here. You'll see that I have this folder called Thursday class. I literally, basically that command basically did this command here where you press this button and create a new folder. So all of these terminal commands, they're just a lower level version of the stuff that you do in a graphical user interface on your computer anyway. So rest assured, like, I'm not doing anything crazy out here. Okay. So I want to go into that directory. So I'm gonna run the command cd, change directory, Thursday. I am Thursday. And now I am in that folder of Thursday. And if we take a look here, see, bam, we are currently in that Thursday folder. There's nothing here, but we're in it. So y'all are gonna have to do this as well, like for the exercise, but I'm just gonna run this command here called git init. This is actually going to initiate this folder as a Git repository, which then allows you to kind of like it makes Git know, like, all right, this folder is now tracked. Things will happen in here, and I'm gonna have to keep reference of everything in there. So git init, bam, and now if you see this command here, it says I have initialized an empty Git repository in that location there. So what the heck did that do? If we open this folder real quick, and a lot of times I have this enabled on my computer. You can actually enable it later on, but you may not see this folder because it has a period in front of it. That basically means it's an invisible file. You're not really supposed to see it, but I actually have a setting to actually see it because, I'd be out here developing. But what it created was a Git folder, which has all of the contents that you need to actually be a tracked Git repository. So if we take a look here, I want to show you kind of like the workflow of like what a untracked file is, all the way to a stage file, all the way to an unmodified, modified. So let's do this really quickly. So I'm going to add a file. I'm going to run this command called touch. It means create a folder. You can also do code space, whatever you want to create there. So I'm gonna do index.html. And if we that command ran, you're just like probably like, what the heck did it do? What it did was create an index file here. So let's say if we were doing some software development out here, we are currently at this stage of like untracked, and we just added a file which we've basically done nothing with right now. So it is technically a untracked file. So as I mentioned before, Git tracks everything, but it only tracks it if you tell it to. So basically what we need to do is actually like, let's say we're in our repo, we are in the start of our amazing app, and we want to basically the path of 1,000 miles is taken by one step at a time. So it's our first step into making our first amazing app, index.html. And I want to see, I want to actually like add it to a staged environment. So let's actually take a look to see how this would play out. So first, I'm going to, let's actually explain what the staging is and stuff like that. And I'll kind of go back and forth within the lesson here. So let's say I'd like to paint another picture of us. Let's say we are, it's the final day of class, and, we're all doing a group photo. And the best way of kind of explaining what tracked, stage, committed stuff is in GitHub is picture the process of taking a photo. I'd like to say us untracked is like the equivalent of us like all as a class, like basically we're all over the place, we're trying, and I say, hey, let's all come together to take a photo. So then like everybody basically is like, all right, let's get this ready for a photo, let's get together and get ready for a photo. The bet like I would say we are then kind of coming together and staging ourselves for that photo. We are coming together and we're all posing. Everyone has like their West Side signs up or something like that, and they're ready to. We're all ready to take a photo. So we're all together posed. I would say at that point that is us basically staged. We're staged for a snapshot, which what a commit is basically a snapshot in your repo. 1 second, we have a fire truck going by. Classic Bronx. Bronx is always on fire. But basically, we stage ourselves, and I'd like to say like kind of like the concept is like, all right, if we're staged, we're like kind of like ready to take that photo. Like everyone say cheese. That's the concept of basically us being staging ourselves for the photo. And then the second someone presses that button to take a photo on an iPhone, that would be us basically being committed. That would be that would be like a commit. We've taking it take us take blah, we took a snapshot of ourselves in one point in time, and that one point in time is kind of frozen in time, and it would be cool if we can go back in time to photos, but like the idea is like we have that one instance, and that would be like us being kind of like there at four, like on the was it 4:25 or something like that, and like that shot is taken at that point in time at that date in LaGuardia. um that is us basically being committed there. A lot of times, as I mentioned, we would probably write a little message saying like, hey, like the class on the first day together or something like that. That would probably be the commit. And from there, we're kind of like ready to work on something else. So let me kind of work through what the heck that means in like our software like kind of realm there. So let's going back to our little example here. We have a folder. We have just created a index.html file. And if we take a look here, I'm going to run a couple of commands and explain them as I go through it. If we run this command called git status, we can see that we kind of have our original for y'all will be main. I am old school and need to change my git, so it's still master for me, but we have a bunch of untracked files, and like it's basically we have a list of untracked files, and there's only one. There is index.html, the one that I've created, and if you can see, it's in red. It's here, it's untracked, and we'll even have a little hint here to say like, hey, use git add the name of the file to get it ready for a commit. So let's say we have this file. We're like, all right, looks good. I think it's ready to be staged. I'm going to run the command git add. This would actually take that file and get it ready for that staged environment. So basically, hey, I want to add the index.html. I am going to hit add there. And if we take a look to see again what git status is, we'll see that we have a stage file, and this new file. It's called index.html. It's actually in green now. And basically what is cool about it is like, hey, now it's ready to be committed. Now it's ready to kind of have that snapshot taken of it. So it's basically permanently in the record of our repository. So this is the equivalent of like the index.html file saying cheese, it's staged, it's ready to go. So I'm ready to commit this into my permanent record for this repository. So I'm going to run the command to do that. It's called git commit, which we are now basically, we moved that untracked file to the staging environment. And now that we're staged, we're ready to basically go and commit it, which would basically save it to the record. And then we wouldn't have anything everything would be unmodified because it's now currently publicly in the Git records there. So I'm going to run git commit dash m, that means dash message. And within the quotes, I'm actually going to write a detailed it's like basically comment of what I did in this commit. So rule of thumb here is always kind of like commit in with a message in the present tense, and be explicit on what you did, but don't be writing essays. There's like you can put that in the description when you're ready to. So I'm gonna write ads index dot html, and I would say that looks like a pretty good commit message. Yeah, no, that's a great point. Commits are, Lucas, commits are like save points, and the messages should help you remember, like basically, like, yeah, what you did there. So yeah, I like that idea. If you've ever played these RPGs out here, or like played a really hard game like Dark Souls and stuff like that, like you'd be making a lot of save points right before you got whooped. Basically, for me, I play a lot of retro games on emulators, so you can always have a little save point right before you get whooped in those really hard games from the early 2000s. So, I could always kind of have like a save state right before I go into the door with the boss and get whipped. I'm like, all right, I lost too much health. I'm gonna go reset, go right back to where that is. So if we take a look at this now, we'll actually see that there's from that git commit message, we actually have a little message here. It's basically saying like, the commit was successful. This little hash kind of like is the pointer I was kind of talking about, pointing to like the commit where there is this adds HTML. We actually get a nice little message of like things that have happened in this commit. So one file has changed, 0 insertions, 0 deletions, and we've created our index.html file. So if we go and take a look at git status again, saying like, hey, how's our repo looking right now? If we take a look, they'll say like, we are working on a clean directory. There's nothing to commit, because after a commit, we've kind of went back to this unmodified state here. We have now saved that into our record of our repository, and basically we can now do whatever else we want to do in the project. So let's say we're now at this unmodified state. I'm gonna actually say, hey, I actually want to edit this file. I want to basically modify it to like actually make it look like it's an HTML file. So I'm going to not do that. I'm gonna go into our folder real quick. And I'm gonna run this little command here. If you have Visual Studio Code, it's a pretty easy way to just open up your file. So I'm gonna run code dot, which basically says like tells Visual Studio Code, hey, open everything in this directory here. So as you can see here, we have our lovely index.html file. I'm going to turn off our little agent there real quickly. Oh, I forgot to mention this. This was something I wanted to mention on Tuesday, just didn't have the time. The rules of using AI in this class here. I want us to kind of think of AI like my rule of thumb right now is while you're learning, turn off the agent, turn off all of that stuff because you need to kind of understand the concepts, understand the muscle memory of typing, and basically understand what you're doing before you can basically sick your AI agent on like the stuff that you want to build. Very similar, like the analogy I want to kind of make of this is basically like we are in elementary school, you learned how to add, you learned how to multiply, subtract, divide, and then when you got to like more complex stuff, you got access to a calculator to do that really easily. But if you didn't know how to do that before you had the calculator, there's this concept of garbage in, garbage out. You would end up basically not knowing what the hell you're doing, or anyway, and then like putting this into your your calculator and then wondering why you got the wrong answer. What you should be, I'm not going to tell you not to use like AI for future stuff. Like basically you probably I'd want you to scope out stuff like really simple, really small, really small stuff like, but build out the architecture in your capstone project. But while we're learning, like again, you're not getting grades here. The real grade here for this boot camp is like the internship you're going to be in. But while you're learning, just turn it like this is for you guys. Just turn it off, learn how to do it. Once you get good, like you'll be able to kind of like turn it on and work on like small explicit stuff for like the piece there. So the reason for that, of course, is like let's say you go to your internship and basically like the rules of that company is like, yo, we don't use AI XYZ. You are completely boned for that internship. And also like you basically learned how to like you learned the wrong form for programming. You basically learned how to shoot do a 3-point shot with the wrong technique. So you're always gonna have to kind of like it's almost like when if you break a bone, if you don't like if it doesn't heal right, it'll always be kind of like wrong. It'll always be broken in some weird way. That's kind of like the equivalent of like learning and just using AI instantly and stuff like that. That being said, I would say don't use AI to learn concepts, like explain this concept to me as if I am 5 years old type stuff, these things. But like write me the whole program. You don't want to do that. You want to learn it. Kazi, you have something to say.
Yeah, I just want to piggyback off what you're saying. I think one thing to keep in mind is with great power comes great responsibility, right?
Mm.
An analogy I want to use with the AI is do not use it as a crutch. Use it as a tool to help you, and don't and allow yourself to get stuck while you're coding, and don't jump to AI right away because that's the only way you learn. And the best way I could put it is imagine AI being a best friend you have in school that you can run to for answers whenever you feel like giving up, but allow yourself to go through the struggle before you decide to give that best friend that phone call or ask for that assistance. That's basically it. His Vasio.
Thanks, and I love that. And Kiki also made a great point, like getting in the habit of checking documentation first. Yeah, absolutely. Like um the documents are basically there for your learning, and you want to kind of like you feel like understand like utilize that and also understand how to like read documentation because a lot of like the new tech the stuff that you'd be working on you'd actually have to either like read documentation or write documentation. So let's say you go to Amazon or something like that, there's a whole set of documents on how the project works, and that's all proprietary. So like you're not going to be able to like be like, yo, chat gpt, how does this work? because like that's internal to their system and they're like not about to like share that out to the public so Alibaba can like, basically rebuild their software from like learning how they did it in their docs and stuff like that. So keep that in mind and move forward and prosper. Okay, so enough of that. Let me actually do all our little HTML boilerplate stuff. So that being said, feel free to use like the plugins for like Visual Studio Code and stuff like that. So what's really dope is, back in the day I had to like memorize this crap to actually like learn how to like, like basically this is a structure of making a HTML doc. We'll go over this on Saturday, hopefully, if we have the time. But yeah, the idea here is like like this is basically the skeleton structure of a web page. So I'm gonna quickly just say like thus. I cannot type for nothing today. This thus is S page. Let's change that. This is Hess's page. There we go. Author fee there. That's my title. In my body, I'm gonna just basically do a quick little H1 here. Be like, you're because I'm in the Bronx. All right, so I'm gonna save that real quick. And now let's take a look at our Git here. So if we take a look at this little diagram here, we have an unmodified file, but I edited the file. So now it's modified. So what does that look like when we run git status? If I hit that command git status again, it's going to be like, yeah, you got a modification in the index.html. And what is that modification? It's all the stuff we just wrote here. So I think this is ready to do another commit. So I'm gonna first do one command. For those who are listening, what should I do first to get this ready to be saved and committed on our new exciting repository for our new amazing app? Don't go all at once. Viewer.
Do we have to use the git add?
Yes. Great work. And what does git add do?
It gets it prepared for the next stage, which is commit.
Yeah, so it's actually staging it. Yeah, so it's actually getting it ready and staging it for its for the next stage, which is the commit. Yeah, so great work there. So I'm gonna actually run the command git add. And here's another cool thing. Let's say we had like three different things we wanted to add. I would always say like lean on adding one file at a time so you know exactly what you're adding. But let's say I know that I wanted to add all of these in the folder. I'm gonna run this command git add dot, which basically means add everything in the folder right now. So bam, if I run that and take a look at our status here, git status, we'll see that we have a modified staged file, index.html. Basically, in here, we have we edited our file, we modified it, and now it's a staged file in the staging process. So basically now, we're ready to do this thing over here. Commit. Luis, you have go ahead.
Yeah, so remember when you are like saving, when you're doing the git add, it's due to the folder. So remember later in the course you'll understand like front end, back end, and different areas. You got to remember if you want to save the whole project, it needs to be on the root, on the top level of the tree. If you're in a specific folder, it only saves what's in that folder.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a great point. So, unfortunately, we don't have multiple folders here. We'll kind of go into that like later on. But yeah, if I was on a folder that, like, if I had a CSS folder or something like that, and I wanted to, like, add everything in the project, if I was on the CSS folder and ran that command git add, I would have ended up only committing everything in the CSS folder, not the parent root folder. So I'll try to quickly do an example of that in a little bit to show y'all. But let's continue here. So now we have this modified file. I'm actually going to do what next? Feel free to chime in. Anyone who's ready to who believes they know what we do next. Feel
We
free to
gotta
unmute yourself.
do the commit.
Yes, great work. Yeah, so we're gonna actually git commit, and we're actually going to basically go through that whole process again. So what's cool is we just run that command git commit and -m. All right, someone else, what would be a good commit message for what we've just done? Don't go all at once, guys. I'm trying to like
You could, oh, you can go. Okay. You could say ads index.html.
That's a good starter, but I like something that I want to point out is we actually had a commit that says that, and technically what we did was we only really modified what was the contents of the index.html file. So I would challenge you to make a more explicit commit. Go ahead. Let's see if you can do another commit on what we like a message on what we did. Alex.
A modified
Okay.
index.html.
Yeah, I'll take it. Uh, I'm gonna just say mod, because I can't spell the same in my life. Mods index HTML file. Yeah, I like that. It's a good message. We know what we've done. We've modified the file. So now if we hit the commit file here, bam, we'll see that we have a different message here. Basically, instead of us really, like as you saw before, it said like where are we at? One file change. There's no inserts, no deletions, and stuff like that. Now we have, one file has changed, 25 insertions, basically no deletions there. So it kind of shows what we've done in a small little tweet as the message progresses there. So basically we have now, if we take a look at our Git status, we'll see that we're working off of a clean directory. So we have basically staged that modification, and we're now back to a unmodified state. So now let's say, I made $1 million in crypto. I ain't coding no more. So I want to delete this file. I'm going to remove this file, and let's see how Git kind of reacts to this. So I'm gonna run the command rf. I think it was like rf rm.rf. All right. I have a t-shirt that says this too. That's a sad thing. rf-rm. Well, actually, this is where we look up documentation. So let's actually go through this. I'm like, I don't remember what I do here. So I'm going to quickly go, don't mind that. I'm going to quickly go here, and I'm going to ask Google, like, how to delete a file on the terminal command. There we go. We take a look. RM. So it was like RM-RF that I normally do. Forget what the RF does, but long story short, RM is the vibe there. So, all right, remove. It's short for remove. And what I want to do is actually, yeah, remove this file here. Y'all are lucky because y'all have this whole little AI overview. It's not perfect, but like back in the day, we had to go through this ancient thing called Stack Overflow to actually like learn what to do on stuff here. So as you can see, this is why I kind of like remember rm-rf. And what's cool about Stack Overflow, I'll tell you not to sleep on it. You see how like we got our little overview answer, and I was like, I don't remember what RF stuff does. I could actually, someone on here actually answered it and said like, yo, it's remove dash like recursive force, you know? So it like yeah, basically it's a couple extra parameters there. So I'm gonna run this command, this ref, and I'm gonna say index.html needs to go because I am gonna be, where was Sam Bankman Free again? The Barbados or whatever, some islands. Because I need to go to the island, no, not the Epstein Island, like the Barbados island, and go and enjoy my life. So I'm gonna remove that, and if we take a look here, run the command ls list, we no longer have anything in the file there. If we take a look at git status, let's see what we would have here. If you see the command here, it's deleted. Basically, what we did was actually deleted our file, which, look at the slides here. Basically, we had this unmodified state. I removed that, so now like we don't have access to that file. So now, if I do the same stuff here, git add. If we take a look at that status there, we have staged that delete of our index file. And now I'm going to run git commit -m. And I would say a good commit message for this would be something like delete index file going to Costa Rica to chill. I won't lie, guys. Like I spent like a month in Costa Rica once. It's a good time, man. Like you know, when y'all become like software engineers and you know the economy's better and you could take 1 month vacations, do it. It's one of the best things you can do in your life. All right, so we look at the change here. One file has changed, 25 deletions. We have deleted the index file there. So now, we are technically, we take a look, we have nothing in our directory, but we still have like a history of it. So this is the process in a nutshell of like the Git flow movements stuff there. So let's talk a little bit about where we are in the scope and where a remote repository is. What is GitHub in this whole realm of like Git and GitHub? So we have been using Git primarily right now. Well, like throughout the whole day here, and basically all of that has been kind of like localized to our computer. So when we were on our little workspace, we had our little index.html file. We added it, staged that file. We committed that file, and then we went back. We made some changes, added that, committed that, and basically we deleted it. So we made that change of deleting it and committed it. So our local repo, to put things together right now, our local repo is actually the repo that we've been working in, Thursday 23 class. That is our local Git repo. Our developer workspace was like kind of like the files and stuff like that we were playing around with, like the index.html and all that jazz. And basically, when we're ready to, let's say I wanted to, instead of deleting the project, I wanted to retire and give the project to someone else to work on, I would actually push that repo up to a remote Git repo. And when you hear remote, a lot of times I want you to kind of like use, like, like think of that as my GitHub repo. That is where I am on, like that is like the repo for like for Git. So what you normally do, if you are working with a team and stuff like that, which you all are, like the final project is actually going to be a group project together. But you would actually work on your files, do the whole commit process. You would more than likely be working on a different branch. We'll talk about branches later. And basically merge those changes in. And then when you're ready to like kind of like at the end of the day, you're done. Well, you should be pushing often, but like you will be every time you made a new commit or your new feature, you would push that up to your remote repo, the GitHub repo. And every day, you would want to pull that down to actually like get the latest changes and put that into your repo. Because your colleagues, your coworkers, your teammates and stuff like that actually have basically um more than likely been working on stuff in different time zones. Maybe one person's a night owl, one person's a morning person. And when the second you get up, you want to kind of see what were the latest changes in there. You're going to pull it down, work on it, and then you're going to like rinse, wash, and repeat with this process there. Okay, so let's talk about stash really quickly, and then we will kind of quickly end it and then go into our little group assignment, our little assignment there. So, all right, let's stash. Let's give the TLDR of stash. Stash is like, I would like to think of it as basically you have this cool idea, but it's not really ready to be committed, not really ready to be added or staged anywhere, but you still kind of want to use that at some point. Basically, stashing it is very much like how it sounds. You are stashing that in a particular place to be used later on. You would actually end up like basically stashing those changes, like putting it under, like I like to think of it as like sweeping it under the digital rug. And then whenever you're ready to kind of grab it again, you can kind of just apply that stash change to your repo. We're probably not going to have time to go through an example of that, but think of like stash really as like kind of like a way to kind of stash your code for a rainy day or another time. Okay, so we kind of went through a lot of this on the local side. Basically, I want to kind of like talk through this a little bit more, but let's go through the assignment first. Let me actually let's go through the assignment first, and then we'll kind of go through this piece here. But I do want to point out, like, when we were kind of like talking through a lot of the stuff that we just did, if you see like what were some of the stuff we were doing, bam, we ran a command. We were in our workspace. We ran git add, which like indexed our file, staged it, ran git commit to our local repository. We didn't get to the part of like doing a push to our GitHub repository. That's the repository in the cloud there. But like basically a lot of the commands that we were kind of doing, and remember how I mentioned, if you kind of remember like 3 to 4 of these commands, like you're gonna remember basically 80% of what you really have to learn and understand and get. this is basically the 80% of like the flow of what you're doing there. So that if you remember, kind of talked about that stash concept. Like let's say we're working on our workspace here and we're ready to kind of like like I worked on the example I did was like basically like on my site here. Let's go to projects real quick. Look away. See, bam. I'm really proud of that animation. All right, but basically, let's say I wanted to kind of work through a feature here. So a lot of people like played my game on the YouTubes and stuff like that. So I wanted to add a new feature that actually that actually showed the reactions to the game. So we take a look. I actually commented this out really quickly, so we can add it in real quick. Let's say I wanted to kind of go and work on something, and I just kind of like stash some changes, um, like for another day. I want, like, for example, I actually was working on this new feature a little bit ago where you could actually kind of have like a little 360 experience of the game inside of the website. Cool stuff. 3JS is the jam. This is actually using A-frame, which is from 3JS, but basically I wanted to make sure this was working properly before I added back the reactions. So I actually stashed the reactions section of the page, and let's say I wanted to like kind of apply that back in. I'm gonna actually just like uncomment the code there real quick. Oh, there it is. We added it back in, and our little reactions out here. Basically, this is kind of an equivalent of like, like I stashed each changes for something, applied them back in. Now I'm ready to kind of like, run my commands to commit them, push it to GitHub, all that jazz there. Okay. Enough with me yakking out here. What I want us to do now is actually take 20 minutes or so to actually work together in groups to actually work on our assignment for today. So the way classes will usually be broken out, and it'll be at a more expanded version of this in on Saturdays, is what we'll do is we'll have a lecture. We'll probably have like a section where people kind of talk through a lab that they've done, or a blog or a concept or a blog that they've kind of are interested in. Then there's group work where you basically are working on labs like together, or basically I would recommend together because software development is a collaborative environment, at least two, be a driver, a navigator, switch up when y'all get the chance. But basically the idea is like you really are supposed to work together to find these answers to actually solve these problems. Like, if you go to your manager every day being like, yo, what do I do here? They'll be like, yo, you way too junior for this role. So like what I'm gonna have y'all really do is kind of like um learn but together by like figuring the pieces out. Of course we'll be here to like answer questions, but we're actually going to be like a little coy with it, leading you to the answer, but basically not the full like path, because you should kind of get comfortable with like figuring out the answer, learning it, reading the documentation for these things there. So what I want us to do is actually, for everyone who, there it is, yes. For everyone who has not basically um, done the whole like installing your Git on your computer, we're actually gonna like go through this whole process here. So y'all are gonna be doing this like in groups, work together. You all have access to share your screen. So like someone lead by sharing their screen, and make sure you all are good and actually are all set up. Set up your GitHub account. That was like, it's free forever. Well, hopefully, Microsoft bought it, so we'll see what happens there. But basically, this is like going to be like your digital LinkedIn. So this is your digital presence in the coding world, and basically you will be uh like like your employers, like colleagues, all of that will be looking at your GitHub profile to kind of see what you've been working on, how you kind of collaborate with others, have you worked on any open source projects, so on and so forth. So it's almost like your LinkedIn in tech. And again, as I mentioned, it's where you house your remote repositories when you're working together. Then I want you to install Git on your computer. You will go to this website here. It will kind of prompt you whether you are doing it via Windows, Mac, Linux for you crazy Linux users. Basically, it'll give you the instructions on how to do it for each operating system. Get that ready. And then when y'all are done with that piece, I want y'all to get as far as you can. Well, read through all of this, of course. But I want y'all to go through 4 through basically around basically 4 through 9 here. And again, there's a lot of resources to get up and running and started with just like Git and all the Git stuff there. So let's see how far we get. I'm gonna give us like 25 minutes, hopefully, to kind of just like go through this, and then we'll all come together for the last like 10 minutes. Basically, we'll kind of handle that there. So I'm gonna break off in the groups. All the TAs, we're gonna be in one group. We'll check in on you, but if you need help or anything like that, just message on the chat, or just kind of just reach out to us via reach out to us via just kind of like going into the actual was it breakout room we'll be in, and we'll come to help you when you're ready. Okay, so I'm going to first grab this, share this with everybody. Don't worry, I'm gonna share it with you guys. Sharing it with everybody. Bam. I'm also gonna put it in our Slack channel here. So cohort 2 guys, you're all in here. I'm gonna share this with you guys. And we are all gonna just work on this together. Well, y'all are gonna work together. We'll be here to support. And we will y'all got this, okay? So any questions before I break y'all off in the groups?
I just want to say I added a second Google Doc also with
Oh,
further
cool.
details if students need help.
All right, awesome. Yeah, thanks. Oh, is that in the drive here?
Yeah, I mean, I have a folder, but I put that specific document with the extra details
Oh,
into the
perfect.
Slack directly.
Yeah, thanks. All right. MVP out here. But yeah, thanks, Kazi. So it'll be that extra doc will be in here. But yeah. Any questions before we go into the groups, guys? Going once, going twice. It's group o'clock. Okay.
A few moments later.
Buddy. I hope y'all are all get it up. You got your Git foo and stuff like that set up. How's everybody doing? Good. Cool. All right, so we have 8 minutes left. I'm not gonna really, we're not gonna really be able to go into like really any core concepts or anything, but I guess I was just chatting with Luis about this, and I think like gave me a great idea, honestly. Like if we have trailing time like this, any of the TAs who are working on stuff, like, feel free to kind of share like the latest and greatest you've been working on and like what you've been doing. So like, you can kind of just like a lot of times when I was like starting out programming, I was like, what the heck is Git gonna do? Like, how's Git gonna turn me into the game developer I wanted to be? Or how is like this HTML thing gonna get me to build out this multi-million dollar app? Multi-million dollar app never happened yet, and that's why I'm not retired in Costa Rica. But I still have hope. But the idea is like, let's kind of like do a quick. We'll try to do a quick like little like let me tell you about something I'm building or something along the lines of that. Um, I'll volunteer myself as tribute first, unless Luis, you want to kind of talk through like the thing that you were working on.
Yeah, I don't mind. I can the mobile app or my own project.
Oh, I you know, don't worry, you'll have the chance to do both. But yeah, actually, um, maybe the mobile app. You can just
Sure.
we have 6 minutes left, so we can kind of just talk through
I
like,
can show you
hey,
real
what
quick.
are you? What are we building?
Yeah, so the company I work for is called Agentic Health. So we're an AI company for medical usages. We pretty much connect telehealth doctors to you for either in person or remote calls. Pretty much right now, I've been working on the mobile side of everything. So connecting you to ensure like all the mobile side is done. This is like a virtual SIM you can use when you have Xcode and like you can integrate it with your doctor. Pretty much what we're doing is it combines a lot of apps you already know to make like one centralized system for healthcare because a lot of this is spread out and your doctors don't actually know a lot of your information. So helping you get with this information with your doctors will be very helpful into determining like what kind of plan you want to build. From like a meal plan to like how you want to structure your meals, lets you helps you really like go through the whole flow and process. One of the cool things is we actually don't talk with your insurance companies. So when you actually need help or stuff, we actually track those insurance claims for you and make sure you get all the latest notifications so you can always claim up to date for it. And that's pretty much what I've been working on right now. I wasn't a mobile dev, but for the last 2 months, I've been working on mobile because we needed people to hurry up and finish this side of the app side. So you'll end up learning that you'll be a part of a many in a startup. You'll be a part of many things to try to get things done. You got to wear multiple hats.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, I love that. And one cool bit is that's actually the company you interned for at the start, right?
Yeah, yeah. The company that interned me hired me full time after my internship, and then recently was promoted to senior dev for them.
Amazing. So like that's this is what I mean by like, you don't be getting grades out here, but you be getting internships, and those internships may lead into something even bigger and stuff like that. Took me years to be senior dev. My man just dropped the mic and like became one in no time. Don't sleep on these startups. Like that's one piece of advice I always like love to kind of like like say is like, and I kind of wish I did this when I first started in my tech career, is I wanted to basically I wanted to basically like have a job where it was chill enough to do game development. So I did that, but like what I should have done was actually, well, I'm happy. I actually made really dope games. Some were hits. A lot of them got me like all around the country, some even around the world. But like, if I did the startup route like earlier in my career, I'd have learned all this craziness like within a year's time over kind of like focusing on one piece of like the stack, which I was a front end developer at IAC for like about 4 years. There is benefits and cost to both tracks. For me, I'm like, grass is always greener, but like, like everybody else is like, yo, bro, shut up. You made like a hit game and all that stuff, man. Like, so like, how about you cry with your $100 bills, like type stuff. So shut up. So the idea is like, you like I hope like like anyone who wants to kind of talk through stuff like that will be able to kind of just like, share their experience. So you get a little bit of this and then a little bit of like experience in the real world. Someone mentioned, wait, so all I need to do know is Git and I'm making six figures. 10 years ago, that might have been the case, but now, that's not the vibe, yo. Bro, like I don't like back in the day, like you would go through a 3 month boot camp and then you'd instantly get like a 90K job. And that was like 10 years ago. So 90K actually like went a long way back then. Like times were prosperous back then. Um, it is relatively harder, but like this is the reason why this boot camp exists. So you can kind of understand like most of y'all are like computer science majors or computer science adjacent. But like the college track doesn't really train you for a software development role. It kind of trains you on the theory and stuff like that. So having your software development like knowledge in college and having your actual like the actual like practical use experience here can really like guide you to that six-figure success. But long story short, bro, like six figures ain't even enough down nowadays, man. I don't even know if like y'all like I don't even like we in a recession out here, man. So don't even worry about it. Like, you gotta get to 200 now, and then you'll feel comfortable. But um enough of me ranting out here. I will see you all on Saturday. Bright and early. Nah, it's like it's in the afternoon, so that thank God for that. But we have like two rooms. Apparently, one is upstairs, one is downstairs. We'll figure out how we're gonna do the logistics for that. But for now, see you on Saturday. We
Hess, real
will.
quick before
Oh,
before
go ahead.
we leave, shouldn't we all meet in one room first and then figure out the situation, or just go to either room?
That's an excellent point. If we can, I'll put it in the Slack group to be like, yo, let's just all meet at this room if like that's okay. So if you hear that on the Slack, then basically go to that room. If not, go to both rooms and then we'll guide you to like basically the room that we'll be going to. But we'll figure it out.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Hess.
Yeah. So if we don't have any other questions, you're free to drop off. Have a good rest of the night. Um, damn, someone took my Lime scooter. I was gonna go to the gym. I'm right by my window so I can like see like the outside, and I'm like, damn.
Yeah, at least you're
But
close to home.
yeah, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I'm in the city right now. I gotta go all the way back to Queens.
Yo, bruh. I mean, like, yo, that's a startup for you, bro. But yeah. All right, have a good one, guys.
Sorry.
See ya.
Take care, bro.
Yeah.
Yep.
Uh, are you gonna
You have
post
a
like
question?
Oh yeah, you have a
the
question, man?
yeah? Are you gonna post the presentation slides and everything on the Slack or?
Yeah, so it will be on Slack. What I'm actually gonna do is I still need to figure out where these recordings are housed, take them down, put them on YouTube, send y'all the links.
No.
And so that'll be kind of like how y'all be able to consume this. Also, I think as I mentioned, like I'm teaching two different cohorts of the same thing. I don't know if I told y'all this or the other cohort, but also I created a couple of resources for you guys on each lecture. So, like one is a nice little 20-minute podcast on basically everything we've just talked about and the other stuff that we'll be talking about, but also like a 6-minute lecture, AI lecture that kind of compresses all of this as well. So you'll have what we talked about, the actual lectures there, and a podcast. So learn like, put that podcast on, go to bed to it or whatever. take the 6-minute lecture on the train ride over all the things, okay? Cool.
Yeah.
All
Thank
right.
you. Thank you.
See you guys.
Yeah. Have a good night.
Have a good night, everyone.
Have a good night. Bye.
Wait, Professor, where do you find these resources? Do I need
Oh,
to
it would be on Slack when I get them.
downstairs?
When I can kind of like organize them, all right?
And also one more question. I got a window. Is that
Oh,
gonna be an
I'm so
issue?
sorry, man. No, I'm kidding. You'll be fine.
Or should I just like create a virtual machine, give it storage, and have Mac on there and just do my work through there?
Nah, man, like the Windows machine would be fine. I'm primarily joking. Actually, at IAC, I was working with a Windows machine for like basically like 3 of the 4 years I was there. Don't worry, you'll be fine. Don't worry.
Uh,
It's just most of what I learned and how I develop is through a Mac. So it's just a little easier. The ecosystem's a little easier, but like you'll be fine either way. Okay.
all right, I will see you Saturday then. Have a good one.
See ya.
Have a good one.
What are y'all still doing here? It's 8:30. Go play some video games.
Hey, quick
Yeah, what's
question.
up?
I won't be able to be there on Saturday. Would you be able to tell me what I should look over in our repo?
Yeah, all right. We are gonna go over some concepts and a lesson. So I'll share that also, like the as I mentioned, the like the external resources and stuff like that. I'll share that as well. The weird thing is, because we'll be in person, I don't know if like the recording thing would actually be a reality there. So we'll figure that piece out, okay?
Okay, thank you so
All right.
much.
All right, have a good one.
Have a good night.
All right, see ya.